Hey guys, what's up? This is MooneyB123 coming to you today. In this video today, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to update your LG G2 to the newest Android version, Android 5.0 Lollipop. The G2 that I'm running off of is the Verizon model. This is the VS980. So most things that I'm going to go through today are going to be very similar to what I'm going through for my model, for the VS980. But there will probably be some minor differences between mine and yours, and especially as you look at the files that you need to download. I'm going to be downloading specifically for the VS980 because that's the model number I have. If you have the LG D805, you'll want to download files for the D805. Or if you have the LS980, you'll want to download the files for the LS980. Okay, I'm just trying to be real clear here. Mine is the VS980, the Verizon version. Make sure that you get the files that are for your particular model. Next thing I want to say is the Lollipop that we're going to be putting on here is not an official update from LG. What we're going to be putting on here today is a custom ROM, and it is CyanogenMod, their version 12. They've gone up in numbers. And 12 is just their designation for Lollipop. So this is not an official update from LG. This is a custom ROM from CyanogenMod. Okay, so what you probably should do is you probably should watch through this entire video first. If you're a beginner at this, you've never done this before, you probably should watch through this whole video. And then just evaluate and just think about, is this something that I really feel comfortable with doing? If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do it. Don't force yourself and get yourself into something that may cause problems. Now, everything we're going to do today is going to be relatively simple, but it's because I've kind of laid out a clear path here. Usually when you get into this kind of stuff, you end up running into stuff. Well, you always do. You always run into stuff where there's something that comes up that wasn't expected. So watch through this. If you're brand new at this, if you're a noob at this, watch through the whole video and see if you're comfortable with this. Okay, another thing is it'd probably be a good idea for you to go ahead and make a backup of your phone. So what I mean by that is plug your phone into your computer, go to your phone, find where your pictures are at, put your pictures onto your phone, and you should do that from time to time anyways so that you don't lose those. But I would suggest before you do that process to do that. Go and find your pictures, put all your pictures over, your videos over, put your music, any of that kind of stuff that you don't want to lose. Make sure you make a backup of that. And even on top of that, once you get this thing rooted, if you haven't done that, you can always use the Titanium Backup app, which is a very good app to back up apps and stuff like that. I'm not gonna go into any of that today, but that's definitely a good app, that Titanium. Okay, next thing is you need to be on KitKat, on a KitKat ROM to be able to go through the steps that I'm going through today. So what I mean is if you go on your phone and you go into settings, and I'm running a little bit of a newer ROM here, but it's going to end up being the same. You want to find About Phone in your settings, and we're going to go to software information. You want this Android version number to be 4.4.2. If you're still on Jelly Bean 4.2.2, you're going to need to update. And I'm not going to go into that in this video either, but you can either use the .tot method or the .kdz, the tot or the kdz method, to be able to update your phone to KitKat, or possibly even do an OTA, the over-the-air update, to get you to KitKat. But you need to be on KitKat for us to be able to go through this process today. Again, like I said, I'm not going to go over that. I may make a video about how to do that in the future, but you need to be on KitKat. Okay, next thing is, over here on my computer, I'm just going to show you the checklist that I'm going to go through. So I'm just going to put it up here for you to see it as well. So there's going to be quite a few things that we're going to download. And all of the things that we're downloading, we are going to download them directly to your phone. Okay, all of this stuff needs to be downloaded to your phone. And I'll have a link in the description for all of these, so you can go to this YouTube video on your phone and download all of these things to your phone. Okay, so these are in no particular order on my checklist here, but obviously the one thing you're going to want is the lollipop ROM. Okay, and I'm going to show you all this in just a second on the actual website, but I just want to go through this checklist with you. So on the lollipop thread, you're going to download the actual ROM, and you're also going to need to download the gaps, which that's just short for Google Apps. So you can have Google Play services, so you can have the Play Store, Gmail, any of those, Google Maps, that type of stuff, so that you can have those apps. Which actually, really, if you just get the if you get the Play Store app on there, then really you can get everything else from there. But that's something you're going to need. So the ROM and the gaps. Second thing is, I'm going to show you how to root today through the Stump root method. Now, there's lots of ways to root your G2. There's a Stump root, there's towel root, there's IO root, there is the Purple Drake method. There's a lot of different ways to root, and sometimes this Stump root doesn't work, and sometimes you have to find another way to do that. And so let me just talk quickly about that. If you're on a Verizon phone and you're at the 26A, you're updated all the way to the very newest 26A, that thing has been having a little bit difficulties of getting rooted. So if you're in that boat, you're probably going to have to downgrade down to 24A. And again, there you're going to want to either use the TOT or the KDZ method to get you back down to 24A, so that you can root that very easily. But we're going to use Stump root today. I've got another video that shows you how to do this in detail, showing the Stump root and towel root. But today I'm just going to use Stump for our rooting method. Okay, after we root, we're going to have to flash a custom recovery. Okay, the stock recovery doesn't help us. You have to have things that are signed by LG, and we can't use that to flash anything. We need to have a custom recovery, and the custom recovery we're going to put on our phone today is TWRP, which stands for Team Win Recovery Project. And the way we're going to get that custom recovery on our phone is through this AutoRec. And also, whenever we're flashing that custom recovery through AutoRec, it's going to actually download or downgrade our bootloader for us. It's going to put us back down to the Jelly Bean bootloader that we need to be on. Okay, this is another thing. I'm just throwing this in, just trying to take care of you. Is we're going to also quickly do this, have our little EFS backup where you can back up your EFS in case we run into any kind of problems. You'll have a backup of that. Okay, when we use AutoRec, it's going to put TWRP 2.7.0.0, and we want to update to the newest TWRP. So that's going to be another thing we're going to download is the newest TWRP, which is 2.8.1.0, I believe. And then the last thing is we're going to have to go back to on the VS980 anyways, on the Verizon model, we're going to have to go back to a Jelly Bean modem. And that's what we're going to have right here. Okay, so that's all the things you're going to download. You're going to download all that stuff onto your phone. So let me go over here on the website, on these different websites, and just show you what I'm talking about here. So first of all, here's the ROM, okay, from Rashed97. So you're going to go down here, you're going to scroll down to the second post in this thread, and you're going to download for your particular model, for the D800, 801, 802, the LS980, or the VS980. I'm a Verizon model, VS980, so I'm going to download that. And this is brand new for today, and I think it was like 222 megabytes, somewhere in that neighborhood. Also, you're going to need to download these gaps. Again, like I told you a second ago, that's the Google apps. So you can have Google Play, Gmail, that type of stuff. So those are the first two things you need to download. Again, all this just downloading directly into your phone. So the ROM itself, for me, the VS980, and the Google apps. And the Google apps is for all the different models. That's just common across all of those. Okay, so next was our Stump root. So over here from Jcase, this is his Stump root. and you're going to scroll down to below his YouTube video, or the YouTube video he's got on that. And right here it says downloads. You're going to download Stump Root version 1.2.0. Stump Root, it doesn't matter which model you have. That Stump Root works across all the different models. Okay. Next thing is AutoRec. So over here on developer Cloudyfa, you're going to scroll down here and you're going to download AutoRec. Now this AutoRec is specific to different models, so make sure you pay attention to that. So for me, again, I'm going down here. I'm going to download the AutoRec for VS980. Next thing is that EFS backup. So this is from Autoprime. So you're going to scroll down here, just a small little file, this LG G2 backup EFS final.zip. Download that one. And again, that one's for all the different variants, for Sprint model, Verizon model, AT&T, all those different ones. This works for all of them. Again, all these things we're downloading, you're downloading them directly onto your phone. Next thing is the newest TeamWin recovery project. This one is going to be specific to your particular model. So we're going to scroll down here to where it says current download or current version. We're going to go over here, and it's going to bring up all the different models. So D800, D801, D802, F320, LS980, VS980. That's the one I want. And you're going to download this one right here, the top one that is 9.2 megabytes. So the TWRP 2.8.1.1, I misspoke earlier, from Blastagator. Okay, so I forgot to say that. This recovery is from Blastagator here. And then the last thing is we need for the Verizon model anyways, we need the Jelly Bean radio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and of course this is going to be specific to the model. So I'm going to go to the VS980, and I'm going to download the 12B radio. That's the one that I want. Now, while you're at it, go ahead and download this 24A radio also. Just go ahead and download that, put it on your phone, so that if you decide you want to go back to something else, you'll have that on your phone, and you won't have to worry about doing that in the future. So just go ahead and download both of those. Again, this is for my Verizon model. We want the VS980 and for the and the 24A. If I were for instance here on the LS980, the Sprint model, if I were you, I would just go ahead and download the last 3 radios on that thing. The ZVC radio, the ZVA radio, the ZV8 radio, and maybe even the ZV7. It doesn't hurt. I mean, it's just taking up 24, 25 megabytes. That's not going to hurt. That can only help to have as many radios stored on your phone that you can flash later if you need those. So, maybe even on the Verizon, on the VS980, maybe download every single one of those. In fact, I do. I have all the radios on my phone already on there, so that if something messes up, that I can have those to flash them later. Okay, so those are all the different things that we need to download directly onto our phone. So I want to quickly go through here and just show all of these on my phone. Okay, so I'm going to go into File Manager, and I've got these in 2 different places, so I'm going to kind of be going back and forth here. So let me go over here and let me just go through this checklist. Let me see. Okay, let me go back okay, so here's the first one. Here's the ROM, the CM12, and there's the date, 11/19, November 19th, 2014. So that's the CM12 ROM itself. Now, the way I've done this, I've kind of got this messed up, but the gaps are over here. So I've got the gaps stored right there on my phone. All right, next is the Stump root, which is right here. Next thing is AutoRec, is right there. Next thing is that EFS backup. And it's right there, the LG G2 backup EFS final. The newest, that newest TWRP, the one from Blastagator, it's this one. It's this with all those characters right there. And then the last one is all of those radios. Okay, and so there's the 12B radio for me, for my Verizon model. And I've got the 24A. Yeah, I lied to you. I don't have all of them. I just have 2 of them. Whoops. And then there's the 24A radio. But I know with those 2, I'm going to be good. So that's everything that I need to have on my phone. Now, before we start into anything here, let's go over to settings real quick. Find security. Let's see. And go ahead and click on unknown sources. You want unknown sources checked. Because when we're about to install Stump root and all that, if that's not checked, it's going to make you come over here and back and forth. Just go ahead and check that right now so you don't have to mess with that in a little bit. Okay, so in my file manager, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to first of all install Stump root. That's going to be our first one that we're going to do. So install Stump root. All right, once we get that installed. Okay, my device is already rooted. But you're going to do that, and sometimes it'll be able to go right through. Sometimes it'll have to go through the brute force method, and that'll take several minutes. It'll take 1 to 2 to 3 minutes for it to do that. But it'll eventually get through that whole process, and then if it roots like it's supposed to, then it'll ask you to reboot your phone. Okay? So mine's already rooted, so I'm already good, but this, you would go through this. The only difference you're going to have is you're going to push reboot and it's going to come back up. And just once you reboot, you're going to come back to here. Now, so what you're going to do is you're going to go into the Play Store and you're going to download Super SU to your phone. Okay, that app right there. So you're going to, after you've rebooted, you're going to download Super SU. This app is going to be able to grant permission to AutoRec so that it can go through its process. Once you install Super SU, it's going to ask you to update the binaries. Push OK, let it do that. Push normal, and just let it go through that updating process. Okay, so once we get through that, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the AutoRec. So I'm going to go back to my file manager. And now I'm going to go install this AutoRec. I'm going to open that up. See, here's where I needed that Super SU, because now it's going to be able to give me the ability to grant permission. So Super SU is, whoops. Okay, modifying partitions is dangerous, and we can't take any responsibility for possible damages you or the app may do to your system. Please use at your own risk. Do you still want to continue? Okay, so let me throw in my disclaimer while he's throwing in his. Be careful as you go through this process. Know that you're flashing stuff that's not sanctioned by LG. So just know that that's happening. Okay. Tell it to flash recovery. It's going to downgrade your bootloader. That's what we need for sure. and then it's going to flash TWRP like I said. Okay, now you could just click on to recovery right there, but I want to show you how to actually get into your recovery because that's kind of important. So what you need to do is power your phone off and let it completely go to sleep. Make sure that after the LED goes off, leave it off for about 2 or 3 more seconds just to make sure it's gone. And so what we're going to do now is you're going to push and hold the volume down and power button at the same time. And you're going to hold those till you see the LG logo. Once you see the LG logo, you're going to let go and then push them again together. And then it's going to bring us up to a white screen that's going to talk about a factory reset. So let's go through that process. Volume down and power at the exact same time. Push those, hold those. It just vibrated. And then LG, let go. Push them down again. Keep holding until it brings us to this about a factory hard reset. Now, once we've flashed that custom recovery through AutoRec, once we go through this process, it's not actually going to factory reset. We're going to actually go into our TWRP. So it says push the power key to confirm. So I'm going to push it once, and then they're just trying to save you here. Push it again, and it's going to say factory reset processing, but actually it's just about to boot us into our TWRP. Okay, to team win. So right now, we are on Team Win Recovery Project version 2.7.0.0. So this is a little bit of an older version of TWRP. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is we're going to go ahead and upgrade our TWRP. So I'm going to go to Install, and I need to find the place where that newest TWRP file is at. It's that one that had all those different characters. So for me, it's here, download. Nope, I lied. It's right here. It's this one right here. So it says follow the flash. It's that whole long thing right there. I'm going to tell it swipe to confirm flash. Blastagators LG TWRP 2.8.1.1 for the LG G2 VS980. Okay, now he says in his thread, Blastagator does, go back to you get to this one, to this kind of the home screen here. Go to settings and click restore defaults. It's not going to look like anything happened, but he said it's possible that you'll run into problems if you don't do that. So just go back, click on Restore Defaults. Okay, next thing I want to do is we're going to go back, and we're going to go to Install, and now we're going to back up our EFS. So I'm going to find that file. For me, it was under Download here, and it's this LG G2 Backup EFS file. So I'm going to swipe to confirm flash. It says successful. And again, just trying to take care of you there. So if you have any problems, you'll have your EFS backed up. All right, next thing we want to do is for the VS980, I need to flash back to that Jelly Bean modem, to that Jelly Bean radio. So I'm going to go to Install. And not the 24A, this is over here. It's right here. For me, the LG VS980 12B radio. I need that Jelly Bean radio. So swipe to confirm flash. All right, we're successful there. Okay, now I suggest you go ahead and do a backup now. Or actually, you probably could have done a backup before you flashed that newest radio. That's probably what I would do. But at this point, or just before the last step where we flash the radio, you need to go ahead and do a backup. So go to backup, and make sure you do all that. Swipe to backup. I've already done that, so I'm not going to go through that. But let it go ahead and go through that process and make a backup of where you're at right now before we're about to flash this ROM. So after you do the backup, that's going to take several minutes. We're going to go over here to wipe, and we're going to swipe to factory reset. And I know they say once you do it once, you're done. I go ahead and do it 2 or 3 times. It's not going to hurt. Now go to advanced wipe, and we're going to wipe Dalvik cache, system, data, and cache. If you wipe internal storage, pictures, videos, all that kind of stuff is gone. But wipe Dalvik cache, system, data, and cache. Swipe to wipe. Alright, I'm going to do it one more time. Go back, back, back. Okay, and now we're getting to the good stuff where we can start actually flashing the ROM. Okay, so, whoops, no. That's the one from yesterday. I downloaded the newest one. Let's see here. So here's where we're going to flash the actual ROM now. So the CM12, in this case, the November 19th, 2014. So depending on what day you're watching this, if you're watching this tomorrow, there'll be there might be a November 20th. Probably not, but there might be. But again, it'll just depend on what day you're at. So you may be a month later from now, and it'll be December. So it'll be 12/19/2014. Just flash the newest one that there is. All right, so I'm going to click on that and make sure CM12, that's the one. So I'm going to flash that. Okay, and let that go through that process. And this right here might take a little while, so may take a few minutes for this to get through. Okay, didn't take very long, successful. Now the last thing is I want to flash my gaps, which for me is back over here. So this gaps, LP, lollipop, November 9th, 2014. Okay, I'm flashing these gaps, LP for lollipop, swipe to confirm flash, Google Apps for Android 5.0. All right, successful. Reboot and profit. Okay, this initial process is going to take a while, so don't get too antsy with this. This is going to take several minutes for it to go through all its setting up, booting up, all this different stuff that's got to happen right now. So this may take 3, 4, 5 minutes right here at this point before it finally boots all the way up. All right, so it should be booting up in just a second here. All right, and I'm just going to skip through all this stuff real quick. Well, as quickly as I can. This takes forever. All right, now. Okay, whatever, I was thinking that. But there you go. Lollipop. LG G2. Thanks for watching today.